What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Superman issue number 5. This one is written by Joshua Williamson, with art once again done fantastically by Jamal Campbell. And this one is another really good Superman issue so far. I'm really liking what Williamson's been doing with the book. I absolutely love the Jamal Campbell artwork. There's kind of an interesting story going on with Superman, like in this whole Supercorp angle, and there's some stuff with the villains and kind of the setup with the story where it kind of leaves you kind of guessing a few things, but it's kind of an exciting thing where you wonder if things were intentional or it just happened by mere coincidence, and that's kind of exciting. And then it ends on a bit of a crazy cliffhanger. And the sucky part is now we have to wait till September to find out what's going on, because we have this ridiculous Night Terrors event, which is going to have like I don't know how many issues in total it's going to be, but it's going to be ridiculous. The fact that we're getting this huge 2-month event just occupying every single title for the next like 2 months. That's going to be an exhausting event to cover, and I'm going to be like doing my best to do so. But anyways, so in the last issue, we found out that Jimmy Olsen was sleeping with Silver Banshee, and they've had this kind of relationship going on. And we were just kind of left questioning, like, wait, what? What's going on there? This issue does a kind of nice job quickly kind of recapping how things kind of came to be with only the span of a couple panels. They had their little meet cute, and then she told him about who she was, and then he tells him her story. And they've kind of just been like living together, having a happy life until, of course, the evil, nefarious villains come into play. Dr. Pham and Mr. Graft have been using some stuff to like manipulate Superman's foes. They did this thing with Parasite, and then, of course, Silver Banshee is another victim for this thing to happen. So they're rivals of like Lex Luthor, if you will, because there's like a past history with them, and they're just kind of doing things. It's almost like I said, some things are like kind of intentional, maybe like, you know, I'll explain in a second. But anyway, so Jimmy's like, I love her and all this other stuff going on. And I do kind of weirdly buy the relationship going on here. Because like I said, she doesn't want to be caught up in the situation. She's just kind of forced to. There's one kind of funny moment where like Supercorp's working with them. It's like, hey, here's this gun that we can use to kind of subdue her whole, like, screen, neutralize her stuff. And Superman's like, oh, here, allow me to take that, Mercy. And he immediately smashes it. Like, that was such a great, funny Superman moment right there. It's like, oh, let me see that. Smash in an instant. No, this is not how we do things. So I really love that. I love that little moment with Clark there. I thought that was or Clark Superman, if you will. So then he takes Jimmy with him because Jimmy really loves her, and he's like, no, come on, you gotta like let me help her. And then he goes in there, and then he's able to kind of like, him and Superman are able to work together, kind of subdue things. Superman's super hearing does get damaged. Like, he does suffer some temporary damage from it. Like, his super hearing is neutralized, if you will. He could still hear like normally, like at a normal sounding volume, but his super hearing is going to take a little bit of time to kind of be healed once again. And he has a confrontation with the two like evil scientists, if you will, and they're kind of setting the stage for things to come. And then we get this little double date between Jimmy and Silver Banshee and Lois and Clark, and, you know, it's sweet, romantic, and all that other stuff. A little tease of Marilyn Moon Knight once again. And then something happens with Lex Luthor where he's basically like stabbed brutally, and he's kind of left to die. And at the end of the issue, he's saying, Superman, help me. But because Superman's super hearing has now been damaged, whether that was part of the villain's plan to kind of intentionally set into motion the stuff of having Superman's hearing damaged so he can't hear Lex Luthor. Like I said, it's either just by coincidence or there was a careful part of their plan, which actually is a pretty like kind of smart thing. Like, it kind of leaves you guessing, like, where are they going to go with this thing? And then now with Lex severely injured and Superman not coming to his rescue and due to his hearing damage to where he can't hear Luthor, I feel like that's going to set the stage for some more distrust issues, like, why weren't you here when this thing happened and all that other stuff? And is Luthor going to die? Probably not, but he's on the verge of dying. And then now it just, the worst part though is it says we continue in the Superman 2023 annual in August and Superman number 6 this September. So we're going to have to wait a little bit before we get to the next proper conclusion of the story arc, thanks to Night Terrors kind of taking over DC for a little bit. And that's kind of unfortunate, if you will, because I really just want to follow up to this issue. Night Terrors is just, that's a bit too much for an event. I've talked about that before, where it's just ridiculous how there's that many issues for a single event. Like, I mean, come on now, we don't need that many for one singular event. But I'm going to be covering the entire thing, and I'm just going to be exhausted by the time I finish. But anyways, so I really enjoyed this issue. Really love the Jamal Campbell artwork. I like what Williamson's doing with this thing. Like I said, I oddly buy the Jimmy and Silver Banshee thing. And like I said, good for Jimmy Olsen. That guy could use some W's too. And it's like I said, it's enough to kind of buy what went on with it, because it's not really overdone per se. It's just kind of enough, if you will. Because like, oh, you know, he seems kind of happy, and it's interesting to see a villain who kind of falls for a hero, and vice versa with the whole situation. And the stuff with the other villains, who, like I said, I'm not wowed by them just yet. I'm still kind of waiting to see more of them, and how they maybe set this whole thing up to damage Superman's super hearing, so that way he couldn't hear Lex Luthor, or maybe it's just a mere coincidence that all these things happened at once. But you know, you don't always believe in coincidence. You got to think that a lot of the stuff is intentional. It just kind of sucks that we have to wait a few months now for the follow-up to this thing, because now we got stuck with this ridiculous event, Night Terrors, which is just going to take over everything. That event's going to be exhausting. I mean, I feel like I just got over Lazarus Planet, and now and Dark Crisis back to back, and it's like, here's an even bigger event. So I think some people, like, you might as well just take a little, like, month or two off, or wait till it all drops on the DC app and, like, read it for free. But whew, that Night Terror is going to be an exhausting one. But I will be covering it all and all its insanity, so look forward to all that. All right, well, that's all I have to say. If you have any thoughts on this particular issue, let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all the other fun stuff. And then I got one more comic book I'm going to try and cover today. If not, it'll pop up tomorrow along with my other comic book review. And as of right now, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.